Good evening, and welcome to the Miracle of Prosperity here on the New Thought Media Network. I am Reverend Jim Webb, author of the book, The Soul of Prosperity, and my newest release, The 30 P's for Prosperity, as well as other books. I also serve as the senior minister of the Tacoma Metaphysical Chapel in Silver Spring, Maryland, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be here tonight. As you can already guess from the visuals, we've got a unique show tonight, for this is one of the rare times when I am able to be in the same room with one of my guests. And you know what happens when we're in the same room. It's electric. So we've got some electric stuff to work with you on tonight. Number one, as we all know, prosperity is more than just money and stuff. Prosperity begins as an inner sense of well-being, deservingness, and love. And when we have that inner sense of well-being, deservingness, and love, we allow that love to take a number of different forms. And all of the forms of love are aspects of prosperity. For example, self-love from within, as we cultivate that love from within, creates loving relationships outside of us. It could be loving romantic relationships, harmonious family relationships, more harmonious relationships with co-workers, neighbors, peers. Also, a sense of deservingness allows the universe to support us more. So when we cultivate an inner sense of deservingness, we are saying yes to the unconditional loving support of the universe outside of us, and the universe's conspiracy to support us with good and shower us with blessings is empowered. And so we have more prosperity in that way. As we fill ourselves and our energies with the light of loving grace, we also do so to our bodies. And when our bodies are continually flooded with the light of loving grace, our bodies work in better balance and conduct energy better. We're more energized. We're more inspired. A healthy energy supports a healthy, balanced body, and a healthy, balanced body supports less physical struggles. So, as you see, there are so many ways that prosperity can be made manifest. And I have some good news for you tonight. What we're talking about tonight is this new energy that has come to the planet. This new energy is an energy unlike anything that we have ever seen on the planet. It's a new light. And you know, like they used to say on Sesame Street, brought to you by the letter A, brought to you by the letter B. This new energy was brought to you by the letter U. As light workers, some of you have been working for decades to draw more light to yourselves through meditation, through prayer, and through communing with love's presence. And so what you've done individually and collectively is you've created this amazing new opening. And wherever there's an opening, God's loving light and grace will come through. So what has happened is this new energy that has a new quality has come through. This new energy is stronger. This new energy is more like a laser. This new energy is finer. And this new energy, because of its strength, because of its volume, and because it is so much finer, it can penetrate and permeate our consciousness more deeply, more powerfully, more efficiently, and more effectively. And because this new light can work with us and through us more effectively, we can heal more effectively, and we can then attract our good more efficiently. And I'll give you an example. One person that I've been working with, we had been working on some deeply heady family issues that had been a challenge for this person for decades. This person recently testified that this new energy helped her to look at a certain family dynamic that had previously brought her so much pain, so much anguish, and so much anxiety. And she was able to look at it and say, it's amazing how much this has healed. And that was a function of this new light. Now, another function of this new light is that it enables us to literally manifest immediately.
Yes.
We just came from dinner, didn't we? Mm-hmm. And one of our fellow diners, who we may be able to coax on camera, one of our fellow diners said, I've been thinking about meatloaf. I looked at the menu and I couldn't find meatloaf. I wanted some meatloaf. So the waiter came over and said, you are not aware of our specials. One of our specials is meatloaf. And our fellow diner, who we might be able to coax on camera for a cameo, one of our fellow was beside himself with joy. And this is immediate manifestation. And this is the function and power of this new energy. So that's what we're going to talk to you about tonight. We're going to talk to you about the new energy of manifestation and how you can harness it to manifest the prosperity that you desire. And you know how Bill Maher always says, well, he did before the writer's strike, new rules? We've got some new rules for manifestation. And I'm not going to talk about them all by myself because you're already tired of hearing my voice. I'm going to invite my friend, my mentor, a wise guru, a spiritual light unlike any other, and the author of the book Soul Power, Learning the Art of Self-Love, Ed Miller. Now, I know he's one of your favorite guests, too. So this is what we're going to be discussing tonight, the new energy of prosperity and how we can use it. Welcome, Ed.
Thank you.
It's so good to see you. I'm beside myself. I just want to give you a hug on camera because I love you so much. And I can't do that when we're 902 miles apart.
No, you can't.
Yeah. So welcome.
This is a real honor. I love being on your show. Yes. I love to talk with your audience. I love our topics.
Yes.
Tonight's topic is something that's really special to me.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I always look forward to talking and communicating and teaching with you.
And you are an excellent communicator, and you are an excellent teacher. So it's my honor to have you.
Thank you.
So as Bill Maher would say, new rules. What are your thoughts on these new rules and this new energy?
You know what I've become very aware of is that the old age was an age of understanding and reason. Things need to be understood. We need to have reasons behind things. Well, this new age is very beautiful, and you talk about how powerful it is and how it hits. It's from heart. It's about heart.
Yes.
The new age is that we're getting out of the mind and we're moving down into the heart space.
Yes, the longest journey.
And that passion, that heart passion is what creates change in this world. And right now, the world needs lots of change. So with that heart energy, that heart passion, we can start demonstrating in incredible ways now and caring for each other on new levels.
Yes.
And loving each other on new levels.
Absolutely, absolutely. This new energy just opens our hearts in amazing ways. We were actually talking about this in the green room before the show began, about how the three of us together with our other guest, who may make a cameo later, how our heart energies just filled the room with an energy that you couldn't even describe. And you know what is so fascinating about that people don't fully understand? The power of manifestation is a power of the heart.
Oh, yes.
So that when you want to manifest something, the heart is an integral part of it. And when your heart opens, your ability to manifest opens.
Absolutely.
And that, to me, is fascinating, because that may be why this new energy enables this almost immediate manifestation.
I agree. You know, when I was a young man, I was opening up my first business, my first restaurant. And I was so passionate about it. The name of the restaurant was California Muffin Makers.
Oh.
And I wanted to create a Starbucks type concept. And this was like 30 so years ago. And demonstration, things were coming to me, resources, people, opportunities. And I was just so I tell people every day there was a new miracle toward my intentions.
Oh, wow.
And I was a young man, and I just felt so alive by the law of attraction. I felt like it was, it was everything that mattered to me. But I know that it was because it was all my passion. It was all my heart that was being expressed.
Yes.
There was a point, which happened a little while later, where I got really caught up in my head, in my resistance.
And the resistance came up.
Hell yes. Resistance came up, and once resistance comes up, the blessings that are chasing you down all of a sudden look differently. They feel differently too, because you're triggered by your resistance.
Yes.
And as we talked about before, that resistance, we don't know what it is. It's unconscious often,
Right.
or subconscious, and we've got to be aware of tools in order to bring that stuff up to be revealed.
And to do it in a very proactive way, so it doesn't come up in surprising ways that block you.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that it is important for us to understand is that resistance is a natural byproduct of growth.
Yes.
So when you see your resistance staring you into in the face in the form of a no, that's not a roadblock. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Because what it is the light of creation, the light of manifestation has moved so deeply into you that it has dislodged something you didn't even know was there.
Yeah.
And what you didn't know was there was an unconscious no. But once it's dislodged, you can deal with it. And this new light is so powerful that what might have taken you 20 years of therapy to deal with 20 years ago, you can deal with it in a couple of sessions where you sit down with spirit, where you sit down with grace. And that's how effective and efficient this new light is. And that's why this new light can support you in manifesting your meatloaf, whatever your meatloaf might be.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with it. I in a place now in my evolution where if I can't tie passion to what I'm intending,
Yes.
I don't deal with it anymore, because it has to be something from the heart.
Yes.
And if you can demonstrate your expressions through heart energy, you can bless so many people. And you can create so many opportunities, not only for yourself, but for others too.
Yes.
So I love that heart energy that the world is embracing now.
Yes. And you know what else is so fascinating about that heart energy? It comes about through the opening of the heart. Now, I know that many of you who have been on a spiritual path for a long time, you have dealt with matters of the heart. You have dealt with grief. You have dealt with rage. You have dealt with feelings of undeservingness. You have dealt with sadness. You have dealt with regret. You have dealt with many of those emotions that caused you to believe that life was difficult and hellish. But on the other side of that is the light and the healing of grace, because you've released those energies, and those energies broke your heart open.
They did.
That your heart would be open to this new energy that comes through. So all of that was never for naught. It has always had a purpose. As A Course in Miracles says, all things are lessons God would have me learn. And everything that you have gone through to get to this place has opened your heart to the new energy that comes to us here and now. So you are ready to harness this energy. So we're going to go to break, and as we go to break, I want you to think about what questions you might have, and feel free to type them into the comments so that we can support you in harnessing this new energy, that you might manifest more of your good. And so we're going to go to break, and we'll be back here on the New Thought Media Network.
Choice, your creative superpower. We have the power to manifest as we dedicate attention to our thoughts, but often miss opportunity to achieve the greatest good. Your superpower is waiting to be unleashed to unlock a fuller, more rewarding world for all. Join us every Thursday at noon Mountain Time for Choice, your creative superpower with Zoe DeMuro. And now,
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Spiritual Center, Kitchener, Om Center for Spiritual Living, La Mesa, Satya Center, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and Center for Spiritual Living, Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for making New Thought Media Network a place to be. Please come be you. And remember, like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Blessings, everybody. My name is Jafon Seeley. Could you imagine what is actually possible when we start honoring and recognizing our inherent worth, realizing that we are that which is assisting and co-creating our experience? And with that understanding, start recognizing that every human, every individual, everything that we interact with reflects that same inherent worth.
It's not about an adventure, it's about the atmosphere of the consciousness of adventure, the lifestyle of adventure. How many people would say that their lifestyle is adventurous?
My name is Lisa Benson. I'm a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant and the author of Anchored in Bias, Fired Over White Tears. It's a book detailing my lived experiences with workplace bias and what fueled my passion for normalizing conversations about differences and creating safe spaces for everyone to bring the best version of themselves to life every day.
And we're back here on the New Thought Media Network. And I'm here with Edward Miller, author of the book Soul Power, an intimate and compelling story of soul evolution and how we can find the self-love that allows prosperity. So Ed, with this new energy, how do we harness that for more prosperity?
I love that question. I teach two practices, and I call them SoulTranSync.
Okay.
But what they include is non-duality, which is the awareness of the truth of your own nature, which in truth, we're all just conscious awareness. We're not even the thought. We are conscious awareness. And once you learn to relate to that in a really intimate way, your relationship with problems in the world changes. The other thing I teach is this concept called Ho'oponopono.
Yes.
And the Ho'oponopono is a beautiful Hawaiian forgiveness practice. And it really is working on a lot of that subconscious and unconscious programming by allowing whatever's being suppressed or repressed in the psyche, it allows it to be revealed.
And healed.
And healed.
Yes.
Because you can always take it to, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you, which is the mantra of Ho'oponopono.
Yes.
So my approach has always been twofold. It's been first the awareness of the truth of my nature as God, as the source, and the tending to my heart, and then making sure that my heart is being loved and compassionate and inspired. And those are the two angles I think everybody has to be aware of. They have to be aware of the truth of their nature and the tenderness of their own hearts.
That's fascinating, Ed. And you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of A Course in Miracles, where it says, "Let me remember that I and my Father are one. Let me remember that God and I are one." Because that oneness that we have with God means that we are conscious awareness. And the essence of A Course in Miracles is forgiveness.
Yes, it
which is healing the heart.
Yes.
So it sounds like that's quite aligned with those two things.
I think so. You know, just like you, I went through many years of seeking, looking for the answers. And not until I started becoming very aware that it was self-love that was going to heal me.
Yes.
You know, I was busy trying to find practices and things and objects and teachings and readings and all that kind of stuff.
And lotions and potions and ointments and unguents.
But what I've learned is that it's all about the relationship I have with myself.
Yes, okay.
And then as I nurture that and as I am inspired in that awareness, I don't have to bear any of the troubles, the problems, the conditions. I don't have to bear any of that because I'm not any of those things.
Okay.
You know, I am the conscious awareness.
Right.
The observer, the space, the unmanifested. Yeah.
So in other words, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all else shall be added unto you.
Yes, I love that. That's very, very, is that biblical or law of attraction?
It's biblical.
Oh, okay, there you go.
I mix a little bit of the Bible into
Yeah,
the Course
there's
in
nothing wrong
Miracles
with
as
that.
well.
No,
I mean,
it fits,
let's face
yes.
it, and let's face it, the New Testament and the Course in Miracles had the same author. So,
Yes, that's what they say.
yeah, yeah. So seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all else shall be added unto you. Now, you know what else is fascinating to me, Ed? What else is fascinating to me is that non-duality strips away all of those false aspects of our consciousness as illusions. I love how you use that word illusion. Yeah. It strips away all those illusions. I thought I was this race. I thought I was this gender, and everything that has to do with this race and this gender.
Well, what about this is true and that's not true?
Right. This race and this gender thing that I think I am has nothing to do with who I really am.
No.
This economic circumstance into which I was born, these family circumstances into which I was born, the geographical circumstances into which I was born, have nothing to do with who I really am. Yeah. So when that occurs, we no longer let those illusions constrain us or chain us.
Exactly. But they do allow us, with the law of attraction, to play with the mind.
Yes, yes.
And reap the opportunities and because mind is important.
Yes.
And when we get clear and become aware of any kind of unconscious or subconscious energies that we're still bearing, we can just demonstrate very quickly.
Yes.
And be inspired with our demonstration instead of being tentative and you know, I'm going to do some more affirmations, because it's not about that. It's about awareness.
It's like, I want some meatloaf.
And I just want meatloaf today.
I just want some meatloaf. There ain't none on the menu. Sir, may I help you? May I show you our specials? The first is meatloaf.
But you know, it is about not being denied.
Yes.
You know, there's nothing that I have to be denied. And I think that a lot of people feel they're denied many things.
Right.
And if you're the source, if that's who I really am,
right,
then I'm not, I can't, it's impossible for me to be denied.
Absolutely. I have a friend and teacher named Reverend Daniel Newsom, and one of the things that he teaches is from the Course in Miracles, I am the Holy Son of God. And why would the Holy Son of God deny itself, punish itself, rebuke itself, or hurt itself? And as you say, when you know yourself as that conscious energy, there's no reason to do so.
No reason to do anything.
And so you instead allow the grace of God to just give you meatloaf.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I'm so excited about how to use, as a non-dualist.
Yes.
Because that's what I consider myself. I'm a non-dual teacher.
Uh-huh.
How to play in the world of mind with law of attraction.
Yes.
Because it's so pure.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, you've got to get out of all the stories.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to see what you're still stuck in.
Yes.
But the demonstrations are yours.
Yes. I have a sister, and she's a minister too. She was ordained recently. And one of the best sermons I ever heard of all the ministers I've ever heard in my life was a sermon she did called Stuck on Start.
Stuck on Start, yeah.
And you just triggered that, because we often get stuck on the start of our stories.
Yes.
And the start of our stories have nothing to do with the potential that we all have to experience ourselves as the light and the glory of God. Absolutely. And to allow that light and glory to be made manifest in every aspect of our lives. So let's not get stuck on start. Let's not get stuck on our stories.
Well, it's interesting you say stuck on start. Whenever I have a project, which I'm passionately enthusiastic about, I am aware of my resistance.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of why, this is going to be hard, or I don't know how to do this, or who's going to help me. I'm aware of all those stories, but I have to let them go. I have to stop depending on them and realize I don't need any help. Mm-hmm. I am all the help I need.
Yes, because you are God.
Exactly.
And the light of God, which is the power that created heaven and earth, is the light that moves to you, moves through you, moves as you, and is you.
Absolutely.
And if that light can create heaven and earth, it can do whatever task is in front of you.
It is.
Amen? I'm sorry.
Amen.
Do you agree?
Yes.
So absolutely wonderful. I think we may have some questions. So let's just see if there are any questions that we can address in supporting others. And here's one. Yes. The question is, can you read that?
I can.
Okay. Can I use this energy to be back in relationship with my unconscious and historically abusive family? I miss my mom.
Wow, I love that. Yeah, and I'm sorry you miss your mom. I know I miss my mom too, but she's gone. But I agree. I think that if the more you love yourself, the more you let yourself off the hook, the more you're kind to yourself, the more you're caring for your emotional state.
Yes.
I think it gives you the impetus for being caring for other people and their emotional states and not taking things personally.
Yes, yes.
And allowing to heal spaces with others that may have been before contracted with beliefs. But when you can really, love has no requirement or condition. And if you can get back to the love of yourself,
yes,
you can then express love in a way that's transformative in all of our relationships.
Absolutely. And one of the ways to do that is to go into the prayer and the meditation where you feel the light and love of Source moving to you, moving through you, and expressing as you, as you say so adroitly. And as you feel yourself at one with Source, which is non-duality, and as you feel yourself as Source, Source will move into those places that were hurting, those places that felt betrayed, those places that felt unloved. And Reverend Daniel Newsom, who's a dear friend and mentor, has a saying, God, I let you in, where we let the light of God into all those places that have been hurting. And when you let Source in and you know yourself as Source, Source will automatically touch and heal those places. And as you sit with this, you will feel the ecstasy of the love of Source.
Oh, I love that.
And once you feel the ecstasy of the love of Source, you will find that that which you believed you needed from your mom or from your family, those needs have been supplied by the Source at one with you. And once that happens, you unconsciously begin to let go of any demand or need for them to do or be anything to fill your needs, because that need has just been filled by Source. And from that space, You might even then invite
Absolutely.
the energy of your mother into that space. And doesn't matter whether your mother's living now or whether she died 22 years ago. You invite that energy into the space because you are so overflowing with the love of source that you are, and that need and that hole within you has been so filled that the overflow can flow to her.
Yes.
And what then happens is the Lord's Prayer says, forgive us our debts and our debtors. We move into a state of forgiveness. Because forgiveness is not a verb that we do to someone. I forgive you, I forgive you. Forgiveness is an inner state of non-duality, an inner state of oneness that we achieve. And when we achieve this state, we don't demand anything from them. I don't demand that you love me the way that you couldn't. I don't demand that you treated me the way that you couldn't. I don't demand that you make right this thing that happened 30 years ago that you can't make right because you're dead. We release that.
Yes.
So we forgive them of the debt we believe they owed us. And we forgive ourselves of the debt we believed we owed them. Because we believe we owed them a debt. I must not have been good enough. I must not have been smart enough. I must not have been lovable enough. I must not have been pretty enough. I must not have been the first one born, so you couldn't love me like you loved my brother. So we forgive our debts, for they were false. We didn't owe them anything except to be what God created us to be, and we never had to be what they believed we needed to be in order to be whole. So we forgive ourselves of what we believed we owed them. We forgive them of what they believed, what we believed they owed us. And so, as A Course in Miracles says, we then let ourselves out of the prison and let them out of the prison of those old roles. And then we see them as spirits see each other, as whole, as perfect, as complete, as loving, as lovable, and love-able. And that's how we create the kingdom of heaven from within on earth. Because what happens then is just like when we were at dinner, we were just three spirits just loving on each other. And when we see each other as just simple spirits, all those false barriers, all those ego-based things fall away, and it's only love.
It's only love.
And that's what spirit does, and that's heaven here on earth. Remember how in the green room right before we started, we just started feeling the sweet Holy Spirit?
Yes, we did do that.
We were invoking heaven on earth, and we can all do that. And that is available to us now. It's not in some far-off land after death, after we've borne our cross. So,
or we don't have to be enough. We're already enough.
Yes.
We're already more than enough.
Yes.
And there's nothing we have to acquire. It's something we have to be aware of.
Yes. Being aware of love's presence, which is already there, versus making things happen to cause us to think love is present. Amen?
Yes.
All right. So, wow, you're so smart. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Let's see if we've got some other questions or comments that we can address, and we'll read them. Let's see. What meatloaf is the food of awakening? Wow. Meatloaf.
I love that.
Yes, and we have a friend who's off camera who didn't realize how powerful meatloaf is. Because that meatloaf story is simply the tangible manifestation of everything we teach.
Yeah.
I am one with God, and this is my desire.
Yes.
And my desire shall not be denied.
What made it interesting to me was that the way he said, you know what, I've wanted meatloaf, and I've really wanted it. And the guy was like, well, we have that today.
Yes, it's our special.
And I think that he wasn't wanting meatloaf. Mm-hmm. He was more available for the experience.
Yes, I am open to meatloaf.
Yes. Meatloaf sounds real good right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't want it. Because if he wanted it, it would have been a resistance.
Because want indicates lack.
Yes, it does.
But
it does.
I desire of the Father, desire of the Father. I create, I allow, I welcome meatloaf.
Yes. And his response was very, perfect. You know,
Yes.
I'm getting an instantaneous demonstration based on what I'm wanting right now.
Exactly. And so we may have another question. Whenever you go with all your heart, Confucius would love to hear your further concept. Wherever you go with all your heart, says Confucius. Any more comments on that?
Yeah, I think that we're so caught up in our stories most of the time. We're so caught up in our wants and our desires and our dreams and our conditions and our relationships and the way we look at our relationships. We aren't present with our hearts. We're not present with what we really feel about things. Men in particular are never clear on what they feel about things. They don't talk about what they feel.
Right.
But I think that in this new age, that the new man needs to be very heartfelt and very interested in how someone else's heart might feel. This empathy thing, that we have ignored all this time. Empathy is the energy that allows us to love each other and to relate to each other on all different levels. So I think heart is where it's at. And I think the more you can surrender to heart, the more you can be aware of heart, the more you can inspire heart, the greater the world becomes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the greater we are able to demonstrate in the world.
Absolutely. And, I want to relate this to the first question we did as well. The first question was about family relationships. And I just started teaching a new 6-week course called Healing Family Relationships. And in essence, healing family relationships is about healing the heart. Because many of us have been heartbroken as a result of what we experienced in our early family relationships. So what we're doing is we're taking a new approach, the approach that you and I are discussing tonight in healing family relationships. I am whole. I am one. I am in non-duality with the light of God that heals my heart and enables me to release you from the debts I believed you owed to me, and enables me to release myself from the debts I believe I owe to you.
Or owe to myself.
Owe to myself.
Yeah, even owe to yourself.
And in a sense, and we're going to do some Ho'oponopono in this class as well,
okay, cool.
Because the whole concept is getting to non-duality, and that non-duality is a key to healing family relationships.
It is. In the Ho'oponopono, they talk non-duality is zero.
Yes. Okay.
So the mantra of I love you, I'm sorry, please give me thank you is cleaning to zero.
Yes.
Which I think is beautiful. Where all of our thoughts, all of our memories are just that. And that if we can remember the mantra and constantly be in continual mantra, perpetual mantra format, we're cleaning all the time.
Yes,
we're constantly letting go. We're constantly not holding on to anything. We're constantly being free to be open and available.
Yes.
So, that's why I tell people I stay in Ho'oponopono mode.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm always available for an opportunity or inspiration.
Yes. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So one of the ways to harness this new energy is in the non-duality of oneness with God.
Yes.
Practicing the presence of God every opportunity that you get. Becoming aware of love's presence always. Remember, the Bible said, nothing shall separate us from the love of God. And A Course in Miracles says, let me remember that God and I are one. And when we continually nurture and cultivate that energy of non-duality, with God, all things are possible. And we allow, and this is operative here, the operative word here is allow. And that is how we allow God's blessings to fall upon us in every form of prosperity. This new energy is here. This new energy is available. This new energy is powerful. This new energy is efficient. This new energy is effective. And we've been talking to you about meatloaf. And we've been talking to you about how, if you think you desire something, how it could be made manifest in a matter of hours because of this new energy. So it's wonderful. We can harness it. And we're going to talk some more about that on the other side of this next longer break. So stay with us. We're going to do a couple of extra commercials. Stay with us, and we're going to talk to you some more about that here on the New Thought Media Network.
New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience? Or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
And welcome to the miracle of prosperity. And we have someone making a cameo appearance tonight. Some of you may recognize him. And the reason that we wanted to bring him on camera is because you may be wondering why we kept talking about Meatloaf and not the singer Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. The reason that we were talking about Meatloaf was because we were at dinner. And at dinner, Reverend Daniel Newsom said, you know, all day I've been thinking about Meatloaf and how good...
I'm sorry for interrupting you. That's not how it happened. So we're here in Fort Lauderdale. We went out to dinner, and I really wanted to have meatloaf. I didn't say anything, but I'm looking at the menu, and I don't see meatloaf on the menu, and I'm like, oh, gosh. So the waiter comes, and he says, let me tell you about our specials. Mm-hmm. And our big special is meatloaf. Mm-hmm. So that's how it happened. And so there I got what I desired. Nobody knew that I really wanted it until the waiter said, That's our special. And I was like, oh my God, they've got meatloaf.
Yes.
So that's audience. That's why they keep referencing meatloaf. I just want you all to know that.
I think we were just very excited to see a demonstration. So
A real-time demonstration.
Real-time demonstration.
And that's a function of the new energy and how it is so effective and so efficient that it can support immediate manifestation.
Yeah.
And that's what you can put to work for you in the miracle of prosperity. So Reverend Daniel Newsom, our guest who's making a cameo appearance, what else do you have to share about the subject matter tonight?
Well, you know, as I was sitting there listening to your very enlightening conversation, a couple of things came to mind. Through my channel, what Spirit has been saying is the whole purpose of life is for us to accept radical self-forgiveness. And then to allow ourselves to be loved, blessed, given to, and made happy by God.
I love it.
And you also referenced that we are all the reason why this new energy is coming to the earth. Because I think the energy really is God's will that we all be happy and fulfilled. I often start my work with that it is the will of God that you be completely happy and totally fulfilled right now.
Yes.
So that light is coming in because it's God's will that we all be happy and fulfilled right now. And all of the work of clearing the inner no that we've all done over all of this time has made the way for more and more immediate manifestations of God's will that we be completely happy and totally fulfilled right now.
In other words, as the Course in Miracles lesson 101 through 103 says, God's will for me is perfect happiness. And I have moved myself into agreement with God's will.
Exactly.
I have aligned myself with God's will, so thy will and my will are one, non-duality. My will and thy will be done.
Absolutely. And what you said earlier about when you actually feel the energy of God, you're like, what have I been doing saying no?
Why would I say no to this bliss and joy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what's interesting, we talked about the Course in Miracles, talked about law of attraction. Non-duality teaches that who we are as source, as conscious awareness, is happy.
Yes.
And that there is no separation between us. So when we go around and say, well, I'm not happy, that's not true. We're at our nature, at the core of our nature, we're happy.
For we were here, we were created for the purpose of happiness.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's a real revelation for me when I became aware of that. And that the veils that keep us from seeing that need to be swept away. Or made aware of.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, but the veils are there.
Yes. And they are being lifted each time you pray, each time you meditate, each time you release an illusory idea such as, I am not enough, there is not enough, there is something wrong with me, I do not have support, I am not worthy. Each time you release one of these illusions, you make room for the truth. You are enough. You are the holy, created, beloved of God. You have enough, for you have access to any and every creative energy possible, for God is all creation. You deserve your good because your nature is good, and you deserve to reflect the nature of God, which is good. And so we can all use this new energy in wondrous ways. It's going to be a wonderful journey, and we all look forward to taking this journey with you. And we're all doing things to support your journey of prosperity. Ed, what are you working on these days?
I'm working on a number of things, but what I'm most excited about is I've learned about recovery work, addiction. And I've never been an addict, but I have a heart for it. And I'm enjoying helping other addicts to see a greater view of themselves, to heal themselves in ways that some of the recovery groups don't do. So I'm really excited about this new age of bringing more people to the light, even those that are stuck in the contraction of addiction, that there's always an opportunity to bringing them light. Bringing light to them brings light to me and you and my family and everybody I love. So I think that that this recovery work now that I've been really involved in has been a revelation for me. A new way to love.
Wow.
Yeah, a new opportunity to love.
A new opportunity to be God and to support and minister to God's
Yes,
children.
yes.
And non-duality.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Wonderful. Exciting. Now, what are you working on these days, Reverend Daniel Newsom?
Well, I am very busy doing private sessions and inner transformation, serving as a channel for the Holy Spirit of God and the angelic realms, also with an interfaith metaphysical church called the Sacred Light Fellowship every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. on Zoom. We have a Sunday service, and I do 2 classes in the week in spiritual psychic development and inner transformation. And I continue to work on my new book, God, I Let You In.
Oh, cool. That's exciting. You're working on some very interesting stuff.
What are you working on, Reverend Jim Webb? What are you doing these days?
Oh, well, I'm working on a new class called Healing Family Relationships. You got a hint of that. I also am doing counseling, coaching, spiritual transformative work. I do private channeling as well as my public channeling. I'm doing a channel class called Spirit Speaks on life, between lives, past lives, and future lives. And one of the other manifestations of this new energy is that we have cleansed and healed so much of our consciousness that for the first time, we can actually plan a next life that is largely in bliss and joy, without resistance. So Spirit is working with us to plan our next lives. You know, because so many spiritual people on a spiritual path said, I don't ever want to come back here. This is too tough. But you know what? Like the song, like that Journey song said, the hardest part is over. How I got over, remember that old spiritual How I Got Over? We've gotten over now. And so, as we have created heaven on earth in this life, just imagine what's going to happen in the next life, where we don't have to spend the first 30 years going through hell to create heaven in the last 30 years of our lives. So, Spirit speaks on past, post, and future lives. Spirit guides us into past life energies that bled into this life, what happened between lives, how we planned this life, and how we can plan the next life to be a life of joy and bliss. And finally, I've got a new book out. It's been out about 2 weeks now. It's called 30 P's for Prosperity. And for the first couple of weeks, it's on sale for only 99 cents on Amazon.com. It's 30 prosperity practices and principles, all beginning with a P. And they're all very powerful and useful. And you can still pick it up on Amazon.com for 99 cents until probably about Monday or Tuesday. So if you've not had a chance to check it out yet, feel free to do so while it's at its low introductory price. And that's what I'm up to. So I want to thank our planned guests and our guest who made a cameo appearance on demand. And so we thank you, Reverend Daniel Newsom, and we thank you, Ed Miller.
Thank you.
Thank you for making a wonderful program. And we thank you all for joining us tonight on the Miracle of Prosperity. Everyone have a wonderful evening.